What is up, guys? It is your boy Little Man Jay coming to you with another video, and this right here is the Galaxy A35 Ultra. You know, I figured it was time we show Samsung some love because we've been showing its counterpart so much love recently. Like, if you were to go on my channel, there's a bunch of videos on these iPhones, but I barely have, I only have one video, and that's not even a review video. It's my dad giving me an A02 back when I was still like 11 years old or something. But yeah, I figured since Samsung's new mid-range phone just came out like last year to replace the A54, we should show it some love. We should give it a quick review, a quick rundown, and to make it more interesting, I am going to be switching from my current iPhone to Samsung because it seems like that's what everybody on social media is doing right now. Well, not everybody, but all these big tech socials like Carter PCs or Parker Brown, everybody's switching to Android. So I thought maybe I'd give it a try, and what better to do it with than a Samsung. So I just got this A35 5G, and in this video we're going to be opening it up, doing a review, of course, unboxing and checking out the phone. So without further ado, let's go check it out. Okay, so starting off with the box. Sorry, I'm gonna be doing a lot of comparison in this video, but comparing it to an iPhone box. As you can see, basically the same thing. They're pretty much the same size, have the same thing going on. This does not come with an adapter, and I have not opened this, but given the size, I doubt there's an adapter in here. I'm pretty sure all I'm gonna find is a cable and a phone. But yeah, let's open it up by getting rid of this plastic outer layer and revealing to you guys the A35 5G. Okay, sharp, let's open it. So you peel it from the back just like you would an iPhone. Do not accept if seal is broken. That's pretty cool. So you peel it from the back like that, and then there's this seal down here. It's pretty stiff, pretty ooh. Okay, so this right here is the A35 itself. I can already tell that this thing is about to be so dope, man. Okay. You be like, nah, let's put that to the side, because I know that's what y'all want to see. And let's go to what's inside the box. Like I predicted before, doesn't seem like anything is in this box except for the phone. I thought there would be a charger, but it doesn't appear that there is. Oh my days. They didn't even give us a cable, bro. You are lying to me. Maybe it's in here. Nah. Let me have hope in Samsung. Maybe you're in here, because Android at least has the decency, the courtesy to give us a cable. But it seems like there's something in here. Okay. I'll give you that. It is a Type C to C cable, which is going to be very useful because I already have a Type C to C fast adapter. And what else is in here except for this SIM card jack? Doesn't seem like much is in here. It's just this bunch of nonsense that nobody reads. And if you do read it, there's something wrong with you, because nobody reads that. So now let me clear up this table, and then we can move to what's really important, which is this. Okay, so this is the phone, looking pretty slim, looking pretty sleek, and it comes pretty protected. I won't lie. I like how it comes. iPhone doesn't go this far in terms of wrapping it up with whatever this material is, like a sleeve. Okay, I'll give you that. The phone does look pretty nice. It's very pleasing to the eyes. The aesthetic of the phone is giving. Oh, it's a flat top, so it can sit. Let's try booting it up. Hopefully it's charged. It should come charged. Give me 1 minute. Okay, so let's boot it up. Okay. Samsung Galaxy, powered by Knox. See, I'm used to seeing an Apple there, so this is really refreshing to me. Like, it's really nice to look at, and I'm waiting to see if it's going to say powered by Android. Yep, there it is, powered by Android. I haven't seen that since like 2020. Nah, it's been a minute since I've used an iPhone. I mean, since I've used a Samsung. But now, let's set it up. So the first things that we see here is the whole welcome thingy going on here. So it comes on 49%. Well, it's not full, but it's better than nothing. So give me a couple of minutes. We'll be right back. Just let me start up the phone. Okay, so I just finished the long and lengthy process of setting up my brand new A35 5G. And I gotta say, as a guy who's been on iPhone and Huawei for the past few whatevers, being on Android feels pretty good again. And I'm gonna show you guys this right now. For starters, this phone comes with a 6.6-inch display, so already without the whole Android thingy going on, the phone does look very beautiful. Even the back looks aesthetically pleasing, and my mother, who's strictly an iPhone lover using an iPhone 14 Pro Max, was busy saying, yeah, this phone is nice, don't you want to switch? But I told her, ain't no way, I think I'm also enjoying the Samsung lifestyle. And then when you turn the phone on, it has a very, very nice bright display, and it's around 400 nits on the manual brightness. What's that thing called? On the manual's brightness glider, but it can go up to 1000 nits when you put it on automatic mode. And automatic mode basically means that, you know, if you go to dark places where you're gonna need to see your phone, it automatically adjusts the brightness, and it can also automatically lower the brightness if you're in places where it is too bright. But it can go up to a whole 1000 to make you see whatever you're looking at. And it also has this thingy that I really think is cool. Né? I'm not sure if let me turn it on. I'm not sure if you notice it, but the wallpaper moves ever so slightly. That is just so, I don't know, man. I think I'm just infatuated by a new phone that I am seeing things that aren't even there, but this phone really is super cool. Let's move on to what's important about the phone though, the thing that everybody cares about. So the phone itself has a 50 megapixel main camera, a 15 megapixel ultra wide camera, and a 5 megapixel macro camera. So that's 3 cameras all in all. It also has a 12 megapixel selfie camera, which takes pretty good photos. And the fact that this phone can go all the way up to 4K 30 megapixels is pretty impressive. The only drawback that I don't like, that my iPhone XR does take the cake in, is the fact that my iPhone XR goes all the way up to 4K 60. And this one is only 4K 30, but the pictures are still pretty good. So another thing that you care about instead of the camera, it is the battery, of course. This phone has a 5000 milliamp hour battery, which is basically like all the mid-range phones that are going on right now, because it's not really anything special. It doesn't have any 6000, because I keep in all my reviews, it's always going to be 5000, whether it's iPhone or Samsung. So I can't lie, I was kind of hoping for something more exciting, more different, but it doesn't have that. But 5000 milliamp hour is still pretty impressive. This phone can go from 0 to 50% in half an hour, and a full charge takes roughly 80 minutes. Moving on to the security part of the phone. If you come over here, you will notice that the phone has this fingerprint in your iCard. When you put your finger there, it opens your phone. The phone also has this feature where if you look at that, wait, let me turn it off again, focus on the camera. It is actually scanning my face, allowing me to open the phone without having to go through any extra stuff. And all of that, and it also supports regular PIN, password, and pattern, but like that's just the basic stuff. A thing that I really like about this, which is why I'm adding it in this video, is because as an iPhone guy, it feels pretty nice to not have to like to open my phone, right? And sometimes you find yourself in dark places where you have to turn on the light, or you have to be forced to manually type in your password. But in this situation, I can always use my finger. And a really cool thing about this, I don't even have to turn the phone on to use my finger. It has an always on display that is different from iPhone's always on display. iPhone's always on display. iPhone's always on display has this thingy where the phone is basically always on, where it's just dimmed, but you can still see that the phone is always on, and it has a clock here. This always on display can do that, but it also has this always on display where it looks like it's off, but the phone is actually on, because if you were to put your finger where the fingerprint sensor is supposed to be, it will turn on the phone, which is a really cool thing that I really love about this phone. It saves hella battery, but the phone is still technically always on, which is what I feel like these new manufacturers are trying to go for. So, the storage. The phone comes with 128 gigabytes of storage, which you might think is a lot, but I'm about to blow your mind. That comes standard. I saw that when I was doing research for the video, that the phone doesn't actually have 64 gigabytes of storage. It actually starts at 124 and goes all the way up to 256 if I'm not mistaken, which can also be extended with Samsung Cloud. The phone also has 6 gigabytes of RAM, so the phone is not slow at all. That can also be proven by its One UI processor, which is the same processor you would find in your flagship Samsungs, although there are some bits of it missing. I think I mentioned this in a video that I shot about a year ago on the A14, which is actually Samsung's bestseller, if I may add, where they also use One UI, so the phone is pretty fast with 120Hz refresh rate, but it has just enough of the cool things that you see online taken away from it, that you don't feel like you're using a flagship, even though the phone technically is as fast as your flagship. It really has just tiny bits of it taken away so that you can still feel compelled to buy a flagship. The phone itself goes for around $400, which in South African is 7,138 rand. The phone is actually, interesting fact, on the same level market as an iPhone 12 Pro Max, around that same degree. But the thing about that $400 that I want to add, or 7,000, it just feels nicer to say $400, guys. But I'm a level with y'all. For that 7,138, you see, it doesn't feel as nice off the top. But the interesting thing about that 7,000 is that if you go to Samsung store straight, you can get a refurbished S24 Ultra, which, if you are not in the know, is Samsung's flagship, for the exact same price. So here you're basically choosing: am I going to get this mid-range Samsung phone, which is pretty smart, pretty sleek, pretty cool, brand new out the box, or 7,000, or am I gonna get a refurbished S24 Ultra, which is been used, and, well, I guess a flagship is a flagship for the exact same price. But then again, this phone is pretty dope, super awesome. I am going to be switching to it, and expect more reviews, more things, more interesting facts, more shorts on this phone coming soon, as I tell you guys all the things that I like about it. Now, why should you buy this phone instead of an iPhone XR or 11? Because this phone is obviously more expensive than those ones. And I have just 3 main reasons which should compel you, even though the list goes on and on. First of all is the updates. This phone is covered for 6 more years of One UI updates, while the iPhone XR is gonna stop having updates this year, as well as the iPhone 11. They are pre-tied out. Another thing, this phone is way newer than the iPhone XR and the iPhone 11, because this phone came out in 2024, which was just last year, while the iPhone XR came out in 2018 and the iPhone 11 came out in 2019. So they are some pretty old phones. And lastly, it's in the name. It says 5G. If you don't know what 5G is, it's basically like 4G but with 5. I'm just playing with y'all. 5G basically means that the phone operates on a way faster, way smoother network system, which, if you're in a place like me where the network is pretty bad, this phone gets to pick up on network that is on satellite things and not just on those cable way things. I don't know how to put it in scientific terms, but that's basically just the rundown of what 5G is, if you're just the average consumer who wants to know. So the Samsung Galaxy A35 5G is not only smarter than the iPhones XR and 11, it's faster than them, and it uses 5G processing, which the iPhone 11 and iPhone XR are still stuck on the basic 4G. Even though mine is always on 2G or 1G or 3G, but I guess that's basically just because of where I am. But yeah, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I, Little Man J, will see you on the next one. Expect more reviews on such phones, and I will be telling you guys more about it pretty soon.